Chapter 16, The Skin I'm In. "You getting soft, Malika," I said to myself. "It's Saturday morning, and I've been up 2 hours already writing this stuff for Miss Saunders. If Shar or the twins knew about this, they would think I was out of my mind. Doing schoolwork on the weekend? For fun? Mama's trying to work me to death today, too. She got me washing windows and clothes and everything else. I tell her I have to do homework. That's the only thing that got me off the hook for now. So here I am, trying to think something up before I head to Shar's. It's coming slow, but it's coming." Dear Diary, the sea is wild and mean. Water is crashing against the boat like 100 angry lions. My body is wet with sweat and throw up from the others pressing close around me like sticks of firewood. They chain us together like thieves and beat us till we bleed. I have made up my mind, though. I will show no weakness. I will be strong like the sea and the wind. Akilma. I finish writing, throw the paper in my drawer, and run out of the house. Mama don't know I'm headed for Shar's place. She wouldn't like it. She says Shar's sister, Juju, let Shar do anything she wants. Let her run wild. Mama's right about that. Just before I'm about to leave, Sweets calls. She asks why am I going to Shar's if I'm trying to shake Shar loose. I'm bored, I tell her. I don't want to go to the avenue or hang out here at home. Besides, Shar asked me to come over. Her sister's got some new things. I was going to say no, then she mentioned something about a black and gold skirt set. I can hear Sweets listening on the other end of the phone. She doesn't say much before she hangs up. I thought I would be at Shar's by 1 o'clock, but Mama keeps finding things for me to do. I have to clean out the cabinets, sweep and take clothes to wash at the laundromat. I swear, Mama thinks I'm her slave. She don't even want to pay me a little something for doing so many chores. She says it's my house too, and that I should be glad to help. When 4 o'clock comes, I'm knocking on Shar's door. Can't nobody hear me, though. The music's too loud. Some African stuff is playing. Drums are beating. Singers are making animal noises. Maracas are shaking. I push open the broken screen door and go inside. Juju is jamming. Her and about 10 other people are dancing. They're rubbing up on one another. When I'm halfway across the room, a man with dreadlocks down to his belt jumps in front of me and says, "Come jam with us, little sister." Then he starts moving like he's a snake. I shake my head and run up the steps. Juju tells the dreadlocked brother to turn up the music and leave me alone. The music gets louder, and so do the pots and sticks people are banging on. I'm thinking that the party's just got started, but Shar says it's finishing up from last night. I ask her how she sleeps through all the noise. She says she ain't been to sleep yet. Then she gets paid. She gets paid big bucks from Juju to keep glasses clean, ashtrays empty, and food coming. I don't mind missing sleep for $100, she says, waving the money in my face. Juju parties all the time, 2-3 times a month. People come from all over to go to her parties. Shar and I find a place to talk, upstairs, in one of the empty bedrooms. I tell Shar I couldn't stand being around so many strangers all the time. Shar says I'm a wimp, that it ain't nothing for her to wake up and find somebody she ain't never seen using her bathroom 2 days after the party's done. Folks like being around Juju, she says. Don't they work, I ask. Some do, some don't, she says, matter-of-factly. Juju don't care as long as they pay to get into the party. She ain't giving nobody nothing for free. I shake my head. I'm thinking, ain't no way I could live like this. Cigarette smoke burning your eyes, the house smelling like old chicken grease, strangers passed out on your living room floor. None of it bothers Shar. As long as she's looking fine, she's all right. But today, she don't look so hot. She's got dark circles under her eyes, and her hair is all over her head. You look like you've been sleeping already, I say, picking lint out of her hair. She pushes my hand away. I caught me a few winks about an hour ago. Juju didn't even miss me. I bet she did. But if she did, I'd be in real trouble. She says she don't pay me to sleep. Then Shar lets out a giant yawn. She lays herself across the bed. I want to tell her I didn't come here to watch her sleep, but I feel sorry for her. So I just sit in the chair, watching her nod off. But before Charlize can get to sleep good, Juju yells at the top of her lungs, "Charlize, what am I paying you for, girl? Get yourself down here, now." Charlize jumps up and runs down the stairs. Juju's yelling and screaming at her in front of everybody. I keep asking myself, why is Char taking that from her? Then I remember that Char hasn't got nobody but Juju. Juju is only 25. I sit upstairs by myself for a long while, too scared to go downstairs. Finally, I tell myself to get on out of there. When I do get the courage to go downstairs, it's still a madhouse. Char's running around. People are lined up at the door trying to get in the house. Strangers are asking me where the bathroom is and how come there ain't no toilet paper. I don't tell Char I'm going. I just walk out the door. Last I seen, Char was rubbing her eyes and handing out drinks. Juju was shaking her hips and smoking a cigarette, yelling for somebody to turn up the music. And that concludes chapter 16. Now, after hearing that chapter, you might start to reconsider your opinion about Charlize. I'd like you to think about why she acts the way she acts. Have you learned something in this chapter that might help you understand her a bit more? Thank you.